Hello, my witchy friends. It's Victory Witch ASMR, and I'd like to invite you to come with me on a walk through the woods, and let me help you cast a spell for spring's awakening with my familiar and an herbal cup of tea filled with all sorts of spices and plants. I'm dressed for the occasion, though winter is upon us. There's a chill in the air that nips at your nose and makes you shiver a little bit. But I'd like to thank the wonderful Flor for dressing this witch in this beautiful linen dress, one of my dream pieces, the Carmen dress in black tartan. Every dress comes with a little note in the pocket, which is tied up with a tiny piece of twine and usually has a little quote or a little message to get you through the day. This one says, "Let me fall if I must fall. The one I will become will catch me." You can visit their website and use the link in the comments below to support me directly, as well as use the code Figbury Witch for 5% off your purchase. So let's bundle up, get our mittens on and shawl. Keep an eye on the horizon for the upcoming snow moon this February. Pack our basket with some clementine, oranges, and snow-dusted mittens. And let's take some time for repose, relaxation, and meditation together. Now, this is a time for snow magic, for gathering pine cones and dried herbs, for tracing sigils in frost-dusted windows. The full moon reflects on icy lakes, casting silver spells across the land. Have you ever touched a tree with your bare hands? Ran your fingers down the bark just to hear the sound that it makes? Sometimes these little moments of pause can mean more than anything else. If you look around, especially in the winter time, there's a lot of dead plant matter, a lot of things that are in the process of decomposing. But the heart of the winter shows us just how thin the veil is, not between worlds, but between what was and what will be. This is a season of endings and beginnings, of long nights filled with flickering candlelight and whispered incantations. And so let's sit together for a moment. I'll light my candle over here and let me make you a cup of tea. I have my blue mug here. Let me make you something, a tea spell to wake the earth and call in the spring. Each ingredient I choose is part of a spell, an offering to the turning wheel of the seasons. Cinnamon, for the warmth of the returning sun, is in this anointment oil. Because we're in the woods, it makes a lot of sense to anoint ourselves with a little bit of that magic. So I'll just drop her some onto my wrists, like so. And the scent will ground us in intention. Cinnamon stirs energy, encourages movement. Just as the sap begins to rise in the trees, cinnamon reminds the body to wake from winter's slumber. Also have nettle leaf, which represents the force of rebirth. Nettle is the earth's vitality, green, untamed. It strengthens the body, just as it strengthens the soil after winter's long hush. As well, I will add to your little healing springtime elixir some cloves to represent the spark of transformation. Cloves are also a protective herb. They're small but powerful, and they awaken inner fire, just as spring's first thunderstorm awakens the sleeping roots beneath the earth. I also have juniper berries, a guardian herb, one of transitions. It clears away the old, making space for new life to bloom. The leaves in particular whisper a protective spell, and the berries are a juicy reminder of all that spring has to offer. Orange peel as well is the gift of light. It is like the sun's golden glow preserved in citrus. Orange peel invites joy, luck, and new beginnings, kind of like that first crocus pushing through the snow. I also have lavender and chamomile, gentle dreaming herbs to soothe the restless spirit, and some dehydrated orange and that cinnamon stick to seal the spell and ignite its magic. You can see a dusting of snow coats the contents of this cup. That's perfect. We want a little bit of the elements coming into this ritual. Now, I have brought some steaming hot water, which I will pour into the cup. And we'll have to let it steep for about 10 minutes. And to get all of those properties of the herbs distilled into this mixture. Even though it's cold outside, it can be nice to rest, to have a hot cup of tea outside to keep you warm. And sometimes it's even better when someone else makes it for you. Here, take this. Hold this warmth between your hands. Feel the magic in the steam curling upwards, like the breath of the earth stretching after winter's sleep. Do you feel it? The sun returning to your skin, the earth stirring beneath your feet. The spell is cast. Spring is coming, and you are a part of its awakening. I always say that you can feel the old magic stirring beneath your feet. The earth always remembers, even if the world has forgotten. And so this is the time of waking, the time when the winter's hold loosens, when the earth sighs and stretches, calling forth green things from the dark, and the trees whisper their stories. Long ago, before roads and iron and noise, the people knew the language of the woods. They read the signs in curling ivy, in the flicker of a bird's wing, in the way the mist lingered over the water at dawn. This is the quickening, the moment between dark and light, death and rebirth, when the world is still winter and you get to see the trails, the tracks that greet winter sleep. We are in the in-between. And my favorite thing to do, and I invite you to do it with me, is to just stand and be still in a forest or even outside near your own place. To imagine the green, mossy kiss of returning life, to let your breath steady and slow, to allow your body to realign with yourself and the world around you, just by listening and being. Now, spring spell is not hurried, it's not loud, it's kind of crunchy and a little bit awkward and strange. Sometimes you have to dig quite a bit underneath the snow to find signs of it. Now, if you look closely enough, you might find a few shoots of violets, tulips. Snowdrop season is almost upon us. But where I am, there's mostly husks of former life laying dormant beneath the snow. Oh, the best thing is to look for greenery where it always exists all year round. On fir trees, evergreens, cedars. This time between imbolc and ostara, the spring equinox, going on walks in the woods and looking upwards as much as possible can really help you ground yourself and remember that spring is not that far away. I always love to look for leaves, particularly oak leaves, because they remind me that the seasons work in cycles, and soon enough it will be autumn again before you know it. My favorite time of the year. But in the dead of winter, it can be really hard to remember, to ground yourself, to feel anything but desolate, alone, sad sometimes. Moving so fast. But the thing that helps me the most is looking for signs of life. Like this little tiny red berry. Not edible. But sometimes you'll see splashes of red. I'll often look for mountain ash berries and make crowns out of them. And those are the moments that give me the most hope when I'm struggling in the darkness of winter. I also always love looking for pileated woodpeckers. And that's what that bird was. Bird watching is one of the greatest things about this time of year. And I am a birder. I love bird watching when I'm But sometimes just crunching your feet through the snow, throwing on a comfy coat or a shawl, and making your way into the unknown of the forest is just about the best thing that you can do for your health. I always feel a little bit lost between imbolc and astara. Like, I'm not quite ready for spring. I'm still in the dark days of winter, a little bit disoriented. But remember that that's totally okay. And being in that state is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just part of being human. We must come out of hibernation together. I particularly love to watch chickadees and look at your breath as it crystallizes in the air. Dressing yourself can also be a part of that magic. And I'm wearing this butterfly belt as a reminder of spring and the creatures that come back to life with the turning of the seasons. It can be hard to be patient, to wait for that transition to happen. But sometimes, even just the things you wear can have a little bit of magic instilled in them. Now, if you've made it to the end, almost the end of this walk through the woods, and you want to spend more time in the woods with this witch, I encourage you to support my work on Patreon. I post all sorts of ad-free videos, audios, and blog posts. I'm a witchcraft historian who does ASMR as a hobby, and supporting me on this platform not only helps my academic work and research, but ensures that I have enough time to make high quality content like this for you. So please join me on Patreon. With that, my weary traveler, we must start to walk out of the woods together to renew our energy for the last half of winter and keep our eyes affixed forward on the bright spots that are ahead. Remember that this time is one of repose and one of joy. And spring's spell is already upon us. It moves in spirals as it unfurls. Thank you for visiting me in the woods, for letting me make a cup of tea for you and help you rest. And I'm wishing you a lovely final weeks of winter. Take care of yourselves, tend to yourselves, and I'll see you again very, very soon.